Hello people, hello and welcome back indeed. This is video number 98 on my vlogging journey, my vlogging experiment. I'm gonna start calling it 2 more days until we have hit 100. I haven't got 3 hands, so I can't do that. First of all, let me get that previously promised shout out there to my friend from Nepal. I say my friend, he's become my one true fan now, so to speak. His name is, I'm going to butcher this, well, I'll say it how it's spelled, Manes or Manes or Manes, pardon me. Well, his YouTube username, net handle, whatever, Manes. Thank you very much for your repeated viewership, commenting and liking videos. I appreciate it. It's good to know that someone out there is indeed watching the video and listening or making something of it. Following on from, oh, a bit wobbly, I've just set this up on a tripod on a cushion here on the sofa, so it might get a bit wobbly if I drop my arm. My arms are heavy, so okay, so yeah, following on from yesterday's video and the one before, I can't remember what I said in the one before yesterday, or the one before that for that matter. These last few days really have been a, can I call it a clusterfuck, a mindfuck of nothingness. Everything just seems to be, to use a slightly over dramatized description for how everything feels at the moment. Everything just feels like it's falling apart. Yeah, overly dramatic there. Nothing's falling apart. Everything is fine, but I feel like I'm losing grip of what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know. It's weird. It's strange. I feel lost. So I've come to the realization that I am, for lack of a better term, stuck in a rut. And I think that's partially a rut of indecision, inaction, and non-discipline. So I've not been getting up early out of choice recently. Okay, so yeah, the last 3 or 4 nights I've been sleeping like crap because of an injury. That's beside the point, but I've still been getting up at around 5 a.m. So like yesterday I got up at 4:45. This morning I was awake at about the same time and finally got out of bed just before 6. But I've not been productive in the mornings. Rather than journaling, reading, meditating, etc., I've been conceding to just watching videos on YouTube. Now, obviously it is good every now and then to take a break, to have a little reset, just step back from things so you don't get burnt out. And maybe that's what happened. I don't know. Obviously this is my first time ever sort of trying to focus all of my resources, all of my mental resources on reading lots of books, doing lots of new activities and habits, etc. And some of it I just feel like I'm doing wrong, or not so much wrong in general, but I'm doing it ineffectively. So a few things I've learned about journaling, for instance, is to not force it. So don't do it every day unless you genuinely have something to write down or a topic to tackle every time, or every day at least. there were a few times where I was literally just transposing thoughts from my heads onto paper, from my heads, from from my mind to paper. Um, but obviously, because the paper is slightly limited as to how much I can write on there, because a lot of the times I would just try and stick to one page so that I'm not spending too much time writing. It would somewhat detract from the facts or the exact thoughts that I was having. I'm sure they'll be interesting to go and reread eventually. But for now, yeah, the journaling side of things, I've, I, like I said, I don't want to force it. I don't want to do it every day just for the sake of it. So, like today, I did write down a few things based on prompts. Pardon me. So questions from a book, still the Fiona Harold life coaching book. There was a series of questions in there. I think there were 5 questions in total. 2 of them I didn't really feel applied to me, so 3 of them I wrote down. And each question was a prompt to write down 5 things related to whatever. So, like the first one was list 5 things that you're good at, or something that 5 good talents you have, etc. Something like that. So I wrote all that down. Sorry, I shouldn't be yawning. I've not long got back from the gym. I need to go and have a shower in a minute. I've just had a bit of a late dinner, but that's all completely irrelevant. Yeah, so the writing, I'm slowing down on it a bit. Reading, I mean, today I've read more than I have done in the last 3 days. I've still been reading a little bit every day. In the last 2 weeks, there's probably only been 1 day that I haven't read anything. And like even today, I've read at least maybe 5 or 6 pages in 2 different books. So a few things there. One of them is nearly finished. But I think as well, I've noticed recently some of the books I've been reading are not focused enough on what I want to achieve or what I want to gain from them. So some of the books maybe I bought as I suppose, like a guilty pleasure. Like, oh, that'd be interesting to learn about that. So a bit like Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, which, though very interesting, hasn't really helped me all that much in this development, with the exception of, okay, yeah, maybe there's a few things where some of the practices help make you a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, present. So when you're, especially if you're problem solving or troubleshooting something, being more present, like identifying the fact that you have to concentrate on one thing, it does help. That it stops you getting to, well, it stops me getting distracted. So like recently I have been becoming more aware of the fact that I get distracted and sidelined very easily. So almost on the level of someone with severe ADHD, where I would start something, literally glance over at something else, and then that would take my attention and I would go and do something else. So there were a few days in the office, not last week, the week before, where I would set out with the intention of getting a task done, and within an hour I've done 5 or 6 other things, and the one thing I'd set out to do has hardly been started. So yeah, since reading that book, I've been identifying more and more when I do that, when I become distracted, when I should be remaining focused as opposed to kind of rolling with the distraction and going to do something else. So the book's had its uses, but a lot of it I could have probably just skipped over. Similarly, there's been a few other books where there are sections that just simply do not apply. So a lot of personal development books are written for someone who is still in a job working for someone else, and how you can either work your way up in another company or then start a side hustle or a second business or start your own business. Whereas obviously the position I'm in is I'm not working for someone else, I'm working for myself. I already have a business and I already have the luxury of being able to start one or more side hustles, so to speak, passive income businesses or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, so I think, like I said, I'm stuck in a rut at the moment. I need to find the steps necessary to get out of it, take the next step forward. I think it needs some planning. I need to do some planning. I need to reassess the goals I've set in the past, because some of the first few books I read, there was a lot of mention of setting goals, and I've got in one of my journals and on my phone and on a piece of paper somewhere, I think it might be in my office or it might be next to my bed, I've got goals written down, but those goals are still like top level goals, as in they are end goals. I haven't actually broken down them into smaller steps yet, which is important, because if you can't break down a goal to smaller steps, how do you know what you're supposed to be doing? You can't do anything with purely the end goal in sight. Like if you take, for example, say you establish a new car manufacturing plant, and you hire 50 members of staff, and you say to them, okay, we are going to build and sell a car, so get to it. What does everyone do? They can't just start assembling things and by the end of the day you have a car. No, it starts with small steps, so you have to design it first, and then even the design phase has to be broken down into many smaller steps, and then each of those design phases will indicate or dictate a construction phase. Obviously the chassis, then the body panels, and then there's the assembly of everything, and then everything that goes inside. I'm not going to go into more detail than that, but there's a good example of it, and that's kind of how setting a big goal is. So, and obviously the thing is, you don't want to set small goals, because if you set small goals, then you're setting the bar too low. And not saying that everything is easily achievable, but if you set the bar too low, then you might give up too early. So whereas if you set the bar high, then you're always striving for something. I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate smaller goals or smaller achievements or lesser achievements or whatever you want to call them. It's good to celebrate them, but your end goal, or not end goal, but your ultimate goal should be big. It should be not out of this world. It should be achievable, but it needs to be bigger than you now. Like I've met so many people who have downright said, Like, I'll never have £1 million, or I'll never have a big house, or I'll never be rich, or whatever. But why not? There are literally hundreds of thousands of people who have all proven that it is possible. So what's stopping you from doing it? So that's the view and tactic I'm taking. Yeah, just need to make a plan. Right, so I'm going to leave it there because it's getting late. I need to go have a shower. Yeah, this has been video 98. Thank you to those who are tuning in or have tuned in, for tuning in. Leave a like, leave a comment, say hello. Let me know where you're from in the world. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with video number 99. Okay, guys, girls, people, everyone, have a good day.